and welcome to IGN Anime Club, episode 17.
Yay!
Anime! My throat's going, oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh.
Too much Dota.
Yeah, really though. I'm your host, Marina Sanchez, and joining me as always is Elena Yee,
Hey, everybody.
Megan Sullivan,
Howdy, y'all.
Callie Plaguey,
Hi.
and we're here to talk about anime. Every week we get together, talk about a certain topic about anime. Yeah, and we just kind of hit up whatever we're watching and just discuss like the most recent shows because it's super important to us. And Elena's gonna yell at us this week, so get ready for that.
Why am I always in opposition to you guys?
We were supposed to be watching certain shows, and then things happen. Dota happens.
Friends visiting.
$6 million gameplays happen.
Japantown visits.
So I read that article.
Birthday parties.
It was so good having it broken down because I wouldn't know what the big deal was, or otherwise. And after reading it, I was like, "Whoa! How did they let that happen?"
Yeah,
that must have been crazy to watch as it was happening.
If you care about money, millions of dollars, and people winning that money through playing games, Brian Albert wrote up a thing about the $6 million gameplay move from Dota 2 from the tournament this past weekend, which was ridiculous. I was there and I was like almost crying.
My Twitter feed.
$6 million. What am I doing with my life?
I know,
right? Well, you're talking about anime at work,
Dota.
so
I'm not getting paid $6 million to do it.
one of the people on the team that won is 16 years old. So. What? Millionaire at 16 years old. I mean, I'm not entirely sure how the prize pool is broken up. Like, the prize pool itself was 18 million. Sorry.
It's almost 19.
but it's broken up
winning-
to second place
right.
and third place, right?
Yeah, so the top team won 6 million, 6.6 I think, or something like
my
that.
Twitter feed blew up
yeah,
over the weekend.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But enough about Dota. I know people probably don't care, but I love it. So
So we know what you were doing.
yeah,
this
so
weekend.
I'm gonna be I'm gonna be learning Dota. It's my goal.
yes, I'll be your Dota
Gonna be
senpai.
senpai. There, we tied it into anime. You know, Dota senpai.
Yes, you did.
Oh, also,
Megway.
one of the characters is kind of inspired by an anime character. I don't really know who, but it's a hero named Lena. She's a fire lady.
Well, if you know who the hero named Lena is
I
based
looked it
on,
up, yeah.
let us know.
What's the hero's name? Lena?
Lena, yeah.
Like
she has-
Lena inverse Lena? Like with red hair?
She has red
throws
hair.
Fireballs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first thing that came to mind was Lena inverse from Slayers. So
Oh, hey, that
that's
might be it. Whoa.
Well,
reference to
that was a
Solved it
true
ourselves.
that was a true Megway.
That was a true
So-
Megway. Thank you. Yeah. That's the best that I've got, folks. Sorry. Anyways.
Anyway.
What are we watching?
Oh, well, we started an event at work called Makara no Mondays.
Yes, we
Yeah.
did. We're
So,
all terrible.
we've talked about Makara no Danshi on this show.
It's your weekly Mankano no Danshi. That's what we do.
Yeah,
You know?
we
Throw you
do.
in.
We get together.
The creepy boys.
We get together at Megan's desk, and for 4 minutes, we hate ourselves.
Yes.
And watch the show that gets progressively worse,
Yeah,
in my
somehow.
opinion.
Yeah. This week.
This
Why?
week was just garbage, just hot garbage, like
was
hot
super
street
hot
trash, and that's
Composting. Street trash.
just really bad. Not
It was just raw.
definitely
garbage.
not recycling grade, like
No.
really bad. So it's the show about the boys that talk to you, and you're supposed to go to sleep or whatever. But I'm pretty sure, like my working hypothesis is that it's supposed to make us appreciate the actual real men in our lives, the 3D men who
These
aren't
men are
trash.
So terrible.
Yeah, because this guy's like he invites you out to watch the stars, but he doesn't bring binoculars for you or a blanket.
It's like, what an inconsiderate date.
I'm like, you either tell me what to bring to our date or you bring it. You don't just like leave me without binoculars and a blanket.
And then tell me I can't use binoculars correctly in this passive aggressive manner. So there was that as well.
Yeah.
Or basically make it sound like I'm an airheaded ditz for not bringing my own blanket with me.
it's like, oh, it's cold. You can use a blanket. It's like, come here.
But you can't share it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's too shy.
And he was like shy in
Oh
like
my
a
gosh.
15-year-old girl sort of way.
Yeah.
And I was like, if you're gonna invite me to share your blanket snuggy thing with you,
Yeah,
at least like
yeah, it was.
It was best shot though, because he was just wrapped up. I think it's like a sleeping bag. Like he was all zipped up and he had the hood on. You couldn't see his arms. It's just like his face poking out.
Yeah, it was kind of
so
like
awkward.
Umaru-chan, but not. And,
not cute.
But not
It's just
cute.
like, oh,
yeah.
okay.
So, so he's like, oh, you can share it, but oh my god, I don't know. I was just like, okay. If you asked me out on a date, you're like 18 years old. Just like,
Yeah, he's a college student. He's not a 13-year-old middle school girl. I don't understand this.
I get being shy,
But
but
look at this.
he was so timid.
Yeah,
that
he's
I
allowed
just
to be-
wanted to punch
yeah,
him.
I want to.
No, he wasn't just only timid though. He also was a big fat tool, like the other times that he wasn't being
Big fat tool.
sorry, like that's not meant to be a pun or anything. I'm just saying,
It's just an accurate description.
he's just not. He just kept flip flopping between saying like the most rude things you could say to somebody when you invite them somewhere, and then acting like a stereotypical blushing schoolgirl.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
I feel
What
like
are
this
you
should
doing?
be subtitled "How Not to Date a Girl."
Yeah, like
Or
I'm
anybody?
All of them
period.
are like either kind of
Anybody.
creepy or
Or-
some, like not a bare minimum creepy.
yeah, like
Yeah.
kind of like a baseline creepy. you
Yeah,
know?
like it's like you're not so obtrusive that you need to run away and like call the cops, but
Yeah.
you're still
You're
a
still,
little
like,
like
still,
worried
like,
about your
uneasy.
situation. Yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
maybe this isn't the best thing. My coworker's taking me home. That's fine, and we're good friends. But then he's like, gets kind of creepy and tells you it's just like, okay, I'll just go
Yeah,
back to sleep.
just
I'll
fall
just
asleep.
watch you, whatever. It's like,
I don't know. I don't know you. I'm not falling asleep right now.
I mean, I know this is probably maybe taking the assumption that you've known these people for a while or
Yeah.
whatever. But even then, some of the things they say, it's like, maybe not.
Maybe not.
Don't do
Yeah,
that.
so my big question is, who is this show for? And I'm pretty sure it's to make lonely girls appreciate 3D men, because I was like, you know what? Guys aren't that bad. Like after watching this show yesterday, I was like, well, like I can get back into dating.
I wonder
Like-
for all the gentlemen who are watching, what the equivalent of Makara no Danchi is for guys, where you have like cute, shy schoolgirls who talk to you, or I don't know what the
No,
equivalent.
but it has to be bad. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It can't be good.
It has to
Yeah, like the-
raise like you're like, ooh,
It
not
like the girl
okay.
from Watamote, like talking to you. Like I don't know what like what would you?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that would make you appreciate the lady in your life more. Where it has to have a
It's
creep
kinda
factor.
weird, 'cause
like, this
also-
girl is really weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it looks like they're all sleepy. Like I get it's like a sleep thing. Like you're
But
supposed to go to
that's
sleep.
the thing. I can't sleep after
Right, like
watching
their
this.
eyes, like it's usually animation, like it's more cutesy, like things aimed towards women. They are like the more, I don't know, just like sexy eyes or something. They do better, but these eyes are just like so droopy and sleepy, and they have like the dark circles. It's like, are you okay?
Yeah,
are you
like-
sick?
Are you
like-
on drugs?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Really?
Oh,
the
Are
only,
your pupils dilated
I'd believe
right
that.
now?
the
Yeah.
only good thing about these like 4-minute episodes is the intro. Really, that's the only good part about the whole thing.
Oh.
Yasumi, oh Yasumi. Sorry,
I meant
it gets
to
stuck in my head.
bring up the word itadakimasu comes up in that intro,
Yeah,
and
what's-
that scares me because I'm like, what are we eating?
What are we
Oh God. Okay, let's keep going.
So
Keeping this show family friendly, moving along.
yeah, well, whatever. So
Leave
so
it to Callie.
that's what I'm here for, friends.
What else are you watching besides Makara no Danchi?
And that was your Makara no
Well,
week.
Danchi Tate.
the weekly update
Weekly
for
update, guys.
Makara no Mondays. I think a lot of us were busy this weekend, so that's kind of a big
that was
anime experience. But
Yeah.
But we have Charlotte. Did
Yes.
I'm actually up to date on that. One of the few
you
shows
guys
that I'm
Oh.
somehow
Okay.
up to date.
oh, I'm like on the 4th episode.
I'm
I
still
think.
so behind.
Don't know how I kept up with it because it's not my favorite show of the season. It's just one that I'm watching,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh, I'm up to date. Oh, all right. But yeah, a lot of people were freaking out the most recent episode.
Yeah. It got pretty dark. Without spoiler, it got really dark towards the end, and
Yeah, like
I
there's a-
wanted to know what was up with God, I wrote down his name, but Kumagami. Like,
Yeah.
why was he standing over? Like, you see his shadow at the end, and it was like, that's an interesting clip.
Yeah. So if you didn't watch to the end of the most recent episode of Charlotte, there is like a thing after the openings that we talked about last time. Watch the openings, or at
Yes.
least check out the time codes and make sure you're not ending early. But yeah, so there was an ominous thing at
That
the end
happened.
for sure.
Yeah.
And this, I think they did this shift pretty well. So far, the show's been pretty casual and just saying, "Oh, this is the superpower of the week" sort of deal, and you kind of learn a little bit more about the characters, and it's fine. But I think you're getting to the halfway point. You have to have your end goal kind of set. That means
Yeah,
the
the
shows are
tone
going to
had
start
to
ending.
shift.
You're getting to your climax. You got to pick it up. And we actually saw that with a lot of different shows this week too.
Yeah, it felt like episodes 5 and 6 of a lot of shows definitely they're taking a turn, so the tone is starting to shift and things are starting to have consequences for characters. Because I felt like last episode 5 of Charlotte, kind of felt a little pointless. Like I didn't quite. The one kid had the superpower of flying, which was cool, but there didn't seem to be any hook that I could tell. I was like, well, one day you might
Yeah.
be flying and then you'll grow out of adolescence and fall. But it's like, yeah, but what's the weakness? I didn't quite understand what the weakness
Could
was.
die from that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, not from that, but I'm just saying while he has
Face
his,
right now, though.
No, I'm saying while he still has it, like, he can only fly for 10 seconds or, something like that. I didn't quite get the catch, and it was the obligatory, we go camping episode and we get the swimsuits episode. It felt like it didn't have a point, whereas this episode, it felt like things were starting to move along.
Yeah, it kind of seems more fillery. Like, they meet new people with these powers, these other kids, and they're just like, hey, don't do that. All right, bye.
It was really weird.
Okay. But yeah, so maybe we'll see. I don't know if we'll go back to that. It feels like they can't almost at this point of just going back to, we need to find these kids again. I mean,
I can already kind of predict the story arc.
Yeah.
Granted, like what happened is like, okay, they've been setting this up for a while. They've been saying what happens if you're caught with these powers, and so I think like that's kind of the direction it'll probably go in. But having said that, I still love the music and animation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really, really pretty.
Yeah. Like it a lot. So we'll see where Charlotte goes.
So have you guys been keeping up with Gangsta?
Yes.
Because that one
goodness.
Didn't have time to watch it.
Speaking of episodes like 6 and like it picking up, this week was so good. I thought
so
last
pumped.
week was good, but like this week just it just brought even more
this
detail.
Is the payoff. Episode 6 was the payoff for Gangsta. Like, it's been great. Like, we got some like really good character development. That's fine, but it always seems to be like hinting towards something. You're like, all right, get to it. Nope, not this week, but for the most part, whenever it does hint towards something, it says, oh, hey, the next episode, or like a few minutes later, it says, this is the answer.
Yeah.
They don't usually like leave you lingering, but of course, the overarching plot thing that I actually had a problem with earlier is like, hey, it seems like they're trying to get something done, but they're not actually doing anything, and it makes it feel a little empty. They're finally like, surprise, here it is. And so...
Yeah, it feels like all the puzzle pieces are finally falling into place. And so now we get the whole thing with Alex's behavior. Now we get the whole relationship between Warwick and Nicholas a lot better. And it's starting to fall into place because I don't know, is Gangsta going to only be 12 episodes or 22 episodes?
Yeah, I think it's 12.
12, that's what it's written down.
Yeah, so again, that shift in tone and the consequences for the characters, for their actions is all sort of falling into place. So I'm really interested to see where that goes.
I'm so excited to watch it now.
Yeah, I mean, I will say my only complaint is that I think it took too long for us to figure out or to be told, essentially. Because it wasn't even like we figured it out. We were just flat out told. Sorry to spoil a little bit. But we were just told what was going on with Alex, and I feel like there was no reason for them to withhold that for so long.
I think it makes sense, like, a little bit, just so that they could give her arc, like, a little bit more length. And so maybe it shows, like, that these guys were caring for her a little bit more and that they were trying to monitor and make sure she's okay. I mean, you'll find out. Like, I don't want to be too spoilery with what it is.
I'm not worried about it.
Well, yeah, so you find out that it is drug-related.
It is drug-related.
Yeah.
I was so banking on PTSD.
No, yeah, but it kind of is, though.
Oh, okay.
It's actually her coming off.
Combo, okay.
Yeah, it's her coming off drugs. So, of drugs that, Barry used to give her to keep her in line. Like, they're like, oh, these are the drugs that, they give
prostitutes to keep them submissive.
Right,
yeah.
okay.
So
that's really real, okay.
Yeah, and so even though things start to pick up with her, I'm a little worried, like, what are they really doing with her? I think we see a reason why she's being kept around in this episode. Like, there's a flashback that says, oh, okay, well, maybe that's why they have her around. I mean, aside from them just being, like, kind and helping her out, it doesn't really make sense why they'd want her there.
They did mention a little bit that the doctor was saying that people who are stuck on these drugs tend to get very clingy to a certain environment or certain people, to something about grounding them in reality. But I agree with you that there doesn't seem to be a lot of reason for her
why
to
is she there?
Stick around. So I feel like the payoff will definitely come in the next couple episodes because it has to tie in by the end.
Yeah.
Well, sorry.
No, go ahead.
There's just a really I don't want to spoil too much, though. That's the problem. There was like a really interesting moment between her and Warwick, like after we learn the details, and it was actually a really great scene. It got really. What I like about the series is that it's not afraid to get real, so to speak, right? Like, they don't shy away from mature content without exploiting it, which I really like. But it kind of set up this whole like almost like, I almost wonder what this says about how the two main leads form attachments to people in like her interaction with work. Like, I don't want to go too much in depth. Like, I want you to experience that first.
Yeah, I think it handles trauma and really difficult situations and, adult material really well. Like, it handles prostitution super well and is very careful with how it presents it and not...
It's not super exploitive or
gross. It's not like, oh, well, there's this prostitute on the side, whatever, It's like, no, this is an issue with the city, and it kind of reminds you that even though there are some of the, family bosses and stuff that are likable, that they contributed to this environment. Like, that you can't just undoubtedly like, oh, well, that's the good guy because he helps these people X, Y, and Z. It's like, hey, remember that he's part of the system and he's one of the major players in it.
Yeah.
Kind of just.
I like that. It makes more sense now why they're involved with these gangs. Like, it comes together better.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I wasn't sure, like, you're handymen, great. Why don't you get out of this or do something else? But it's like they're so involved that they kind of can't.
Right. I'm glad to hear it's finally picking up because I was talking to someone who had read the manga, and he was saying that the pacing of the show is very slow, and it kind of follows the manga too closely because manga pacing is often different than anime, obviously.
Right.
And so I'm glad that it's finally like hitting its stride because it did seem like it was kind of lagging for a while. Like I don't think Alex's arc. I mean, obviously I haven't seen this episode yet, but I don't think her arc needed to be dragged so much. Although I do appreciate like a nuanced depiction of sex work because you don't see that in most media, but any media. So I like seeing that. I like having a show that does that for us.
Yeah.
So be sure, audience, friends, countrymen, anime viewers,
Comrades.
comrades, let us know what you guys think about this episode in particular. I know it was like a big turning point, especially, let's get spoilery, but I won't do it here because Callie, and also I'm sure some people haven't caught up on it, but if you did drop it or were thinking about picking back up or something, it definitely
do it.
Yeah.
It's a great payoff, like very emotional. I almost cried.
Sorry.
It like Gangsta just does this thing where it knows how to use flashbacks in the best way, and it doesn't feel intrusive. It doesn't have to like no one's just sitting there and be like, oh, let me think about this thing or anything. It's just done really well.
Yeah, it ties in really well, and it gives you realistic reasons to go back and have these flashbacks. So the cuts make sense, which I appreciate. It's not just super random. They're trying to fit it all into one episode. It's paced really well and done really well. So yay, Gangsta.
I'm just scared with this series that it's going to be one of those where they get to the finale and I'm going to be dying because there's not any more.
Oh, yeah.
That's why we have the manga at least.
I know.
Yeah.
That is the consolation prize, but I am actually worried because the fact that it's getting so good and it's like halfway through, I wonder just how much they're going to be able to cram in between now and the last episode.
Yeah.
I feel that way with School Live because I think that's only 12 episodes too, and
It
we're
is.
already on episode 5, I think.
Well, I think the pacing on School Live has been pretty good so far. That's
Yeah.
another show that's really good at using flashbacks.
Yeah.
By the way.
It's still my favorite.
Again,
of
we
the
don't want to
season.
spoil it for Elena.
No, we don't. but
I'm
it's
sorry,
driving
I
me
was
crazy
busy
'cause I
this
really wanna
weekend.
talk about
I
it.
really want to do a spoiler cast at some point because there's a lot to.
And people
to
said
break.
that they were
We should.
interested, so maybe at the end of the series, we might do like a full series review for the few that we did get
Yeah.
to keep up with entirely.
Yeah, because I reviewed the first episode and then
we didn't get to
We had to
continue
decide
it.
which ones to keep doing. But
Yeah.
like a full series review, I'd probably be interested in doing.
Yeah,
that
but I
'cause-
think that'd be a fun spoiler cast to do because there's so much to dissect in it. There's so many great flashbacks and there's so much great foreshadowing at the same time. It's really well balanced.
I like the way they're weaving the story on that one. I like the way they're using flashbacks. They start kind of in the present and then they show you how everybody got there. They show you kind of, and even not just flashbacks, but also it's another kind of PTSD thing with Yuki. You get to see her kind of her specifically, like her flashbacks, and that gives you insight and answers questions.
Yeah, I feel
finally.
like that's the whole narrative arc is really Yuki and her coping mechanisms and just mental illness altogether. It's really not about zombies. It's not at all about zombies. It's about how you deal with trauma and how she's dealing with trauma and how her friends
Have to help her
have
with
to
that.
help her and they don't know how, so all they can do is enable it, even though
Yeah.
it puts them in terrible danger.
Yes.
Well, they're dealing with their own trauma as well, from what I've seen.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
all they're all dealing with trauma, and Yuki's the one who kind of exhibits the most severe symptoms. And again, mental illness is another thing that I like seeing nuanced depictions of, and it's something it's something that's very important to me personally. And so I really like seeing kind of. You see her like moments of clarity sometimes.
Yeah.
And
Especially in this past episode.
it's very, very impactful.
Yeah.
Because losing your sense of reality is a really tragic thing to me, and that's the saddest part of the show to me is how disconnected she is. So I like seeing that a lot And I do like I mean, I love zombie stuff. I'm a huge zombie fan. And I like it when zombie stuff doesn't focus on the zombies. I like it when it focuses on the people and how they deal with it. And
I think that's what makes Walking Dead so popular is it's really about the character stories. It's
Yeah.
really character motivated as opposed to let's go out and shoot some zombies.
Yeah, I mean, you can
It's-
only do so much with that. You know, it's
Yeah.
like zombies. All right,
you
well,
can-
they're going to attack you, try
you
to kill
can
you.
you can only gore it up so much before it just becomes trite, and then you need something else. You need more substance. So I think School Live does that super well.
Yeah, it does. There's a lot of mature, I feel like anime this past 1 or 2 seasons where it's not super silly. Like there's the swath of like super silly, over the top kind of stuff. I wanted to talk a little about Fairy Tail, which is on its like 7th season now, and it's so opposite where it's so slapstick. It's like Gintama that way, where it's like really slapstick and really goofy and funny, and people are always talking about the show. So I watched the first 2 episodes. And it's funny, but it's such a 180 from the thing I was watching before, which I think was Gangsta. Like, I watched one after the other. Because I these polar opposites. Like, one side of the universe and the other side of the universe. But it's just interesting how anime gives us the opportunity to explore those kind of themes, like post-traumatic stress disorder and sex workers and stuff like that. And it proves that anime does not have to be exploitive about things. I think it gets a bad rap for being a little too exploitive about certain
And
things.
the fan service, like that's like one thing
fan
people
service,
know
yeah.
if you don't really know much about anime.
That's the one thing people think of is
Or
you know,
believe
it. Or believe it. But the capital A anime kind of stuff that we talked about. Like I think that's people who aren't as familiar with the industry or just haven't seen a lot of anime probably think about kind of a caricature of what it is. And I like that we get these shows that give us something more.
Yeah,
I really like
Cowboy Bebop or Michiko and Hachin or Gangsta. They're just like super mature, good stuff that balances sort of the fun, silly stuff. So, yay anime!
Yay anime! I started Toradora.
Oh, how was that?
Yeah, so the reason I started it was because I was on Tumblr and I saw like a photo set of some anime. At the time I didn't know what it was, and like it was this scene and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to know what anime this is from. I have to watch this. So I asked somebody if they were like, oh, it's from Toradora, one of my favorites. And so that's what convinced me to watch it. But I was told that I saw a huge spoiler and I was like, well, now I need to know how they got there because
Right.
I loved this scene that I saw.
Yeah.
And so basically it's about it sounds kind of like a basic setup. It's about a guy who looks kind of scary, but he's not actually scary, and a girl who's very angry and tiny, and they call her the Palm Top Tiger because she's super angry and like loud, but she's like a tiny person, and they have crushes on each other's best friends.
Oh my gosh.
And so they like end up having to help each other kind of thing. It's like a very basic setup. But I've been told by people that it kind of gets really into the characters' personalities and kind of goes a little deeper than it might seem. So I'm excited to continue that one.
So
but
is it a
seems,
comedy?
It's like a romantic comedy.
Romantic comedy.
Yeah, it's super cute so far. I've only seen the first episode, but that scene, I was like, oh, I gotta get here. I don't even care that I know what happens. Like, I have to know how they got there. Because I just loved that scene that I saw.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
Speaking of Tora, Ushio and Tora was good this week as well. It's another one of those episodes, I think it's on episode 6 now, that also took a shift in tone towards the end where there's this big reveal about one of the characters' mother, and you're like, oh, that's interesting. So it's at the very end, it's like past the credits. So you have to, once again,
They're so
the
good.
ending credits,
Yeah.
get through them
Yeah.
because now they've figured out how to have like a carrot at the end of the stick to get you to
Yeah.
watch the ending credits.
Yeah, it's like
Because it was like this big reveal, and I was like, what? Now I have to see the next episode to see how this plays out. So,
Check your timestamps, kids.
yes, exactly.
Food Wars does it a lot too.
Yeah, Food Wars does do that. I love Food Wars so much.
Yeah,
Don't even get me
it's-
started.
Anytime, whenever it goes up, I'm like, yes, Food Wars. Friday Food Wars.
I got a text from my mom on Friday that was like, watching Food Wars. Oh no, my mic. Yeah, no, she texted me like super excited, like as it went up that she was watching it. I was like, I'm at a bar, Mom. I'm watching Food Wars right now.
Yeah, I was at the Internationals, like, guys, Food Wars is up, and I'm not watching it. I was really mad.
Yeah, I ended up going to Japantown this weekend. So that was like my big outing, and I got
Nice.
Kyo here.
Very
Kyo-kun.
cute.
Yeah,
I love plushies.
I love plushies.
Yay.
And I got a Chio-chan too. She's very little.
Did you know there's a J-pop festival?
There
in Union
was.
Square
Oh,
Yeah.
there were so many Lolita. They were
I'm
everywhere.
jealous.
Oh my god! And I went to Baby the Starshine Bright, which is like a really expensive Lolita
Oh my gosh,
brand.
I almost bought a dress there, and it was about $160.
It's
And that's
not
like
cheap.
but that's cheap for what they
That's
have.
cheap for
That
Baby
was
the
on
Starshine.
sale.
No, Starshine Bright.
I should have bought it.
Lolita in general, like if you go to Harajuku, I mean, it can be hundreds.
Unless
of
you go to
dollars.
Bodyline, it's cheap.
You know
Bodyline
that?
is
Well, you
cheap.
know more about it than I do. I'm not a big Lolita fan, but I do know that their stuff is super expensive.
Yeah,
so.
it's a super expensive brand, but there were like decked out Lolita everywhere. It was
thing is-
awesome.
With Lolita, going like tangent.
Yeah.
But it's so expensive. Not just the base dress, but also the shoes, the socks,
Yeah,
the
the
accessories,
bag.
the overcoat, the petticoat, the bags. Like, it's intense.
That's an expensive hobby.
Yeah. And like, you don't, when you get a dress, usually it's just like part of it. Like, sometimes you have to get like another shirt to go under it or something.
Yeah.
Or accessories. Like, it's like, if you find one full complete dress where you just need to get some shoes and socks, that's good.
Yeah, Lolita is hardcore.
Yeah.
It's so hardcore. I don't even know.
I want
Yeah.
to be part of that. It's just too expensive.
It's unattainable, but
Yeah.
oh my goodness, they were just so gorgeous. And so Japantown is fun. It's a fun time.
Yes, it is.
And I
so
got
if you have
plushies.
a local Japantown in your area, definitely hit them up. I know there's one in San Jose. I know there's one in LA. Probably one in New York City.
I'd imagine so.
Yeah.
Yeah, anywhere else, good luck.
Yeah. Have fun.
But hey, you know what? That's the magic of being online. That is something I didn't have the luxury of back in the 90s. So I had to go to Japantown. But now you can get anything on, Play Asia or Amazon.
Yeah.
Or,
Or I mean, there's usually like a Lolita event or like a J Fashion event at an anime con. So like SAC Anime has this whole Lolita thing,
there
like
were
Lolita
two-
Tea
yeah.
Time.
And some vendors will have Lolita stuff as well.
Yeah.
and there
yeah.
are anime cons everywhere. There were two, again, there was one in Montreal, a big one, and then I guess there was one in Tennessee as well. I mean, it's like every week there's an anime con now.
We're
so.
in that season, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anime
it's kind
con
of
season.
ending though. It's
Yeah.
getting towards
Yeah.
the end.
It's
but-
winding down. SAC Anime is up next,
It's
I think.
coming up next,
Yeah.
which I will be at.
Oh.
So, yes, I will probably be there that Saturday. 'Cause it's
cool.
too hard to make it on the weekdays because work. But, yes, if you're there that Saturday, come say hi to me. I'll probably be wearing my Anime Club t-shirt. So,
Yay.
Yay, anime.
Anime. One final thing I've been meaning to bring up for forever, like for the past 2 weeks, is Princess Jellyfish. So I wanted to bring it because I'm reading the manga. I'm not actually watching the show, and that's a big deal because the Princess Jellyfish manga, like legally translated, was not available until very recently.
Yeah.
And it's like an older property.
Yeah,
so
you've mentioned it before.
Yeah, so I'm just like, guys, you have to read it. I'm actually reading it through Crunchyroll because I think they're the only ones who have it right now. Viz, I think, is publishing it later this year. But if you maybe forgot, because I know a lot of people do, is that with your Crunchyroll subscription, I think if you have the premium,
There's a whole manga section.
You have a manga section too. And they do the up-to-date Attack on Titan and some other stuff. They have Fairy Tail, and they have like a tons of other things, like Princess Jellyfish. So don't forget to use that because manga is really expensive.
Yeah,
God.
it's really
I
expensive.
know.
Yeah, so it's just kind of nice to have like another way to get to it. And if you're already paying for Crunchyroll, then it's like, hey, don't forget you can use this thing.
That is a
And
good
so-
deal.
That's a really
Yeah,
good
and
deal.
Yeah.
if you do have it, definitely check out Princess Jellyfish. And so it's about a girl who is like obsessed with jellyfish. Surprise. And she lives in this house full of other women who are kind of otaku in their own way. Like she's obsessed with jellyfish, and then one of her friends is obsessed with like Chinese history and like some other stuff. And they're kind of nerdy. They're not like super gorgeous or anything. They don't dress up. They just like sweats, t-shirt, kind of just living life.
Being
and
nerdy.
then, yeah, and then the girl, she runs like the jellyfish lover. She runs into a like gorgeous woman who helps her save a jellyfish from a pet shop that's like paired with another jellyfish you can't live with.
You can buy jellyfish?
I guess in this
this
show you
manga
can.
you can.
Yeah, yeah. I don't
Sweet.
think you can, but yeah, but there's two jellyfish that are not supposed to be together. One of them will die if it's together. So she's like, no, you can't leave them there. Like the shop's closing. This guy's the owner's like, no, you gotta go. You can't come in. And then like, this really beautiful woman comes and says like, hey, don't push this woman to the ground. What are you doing? And so she helps her get the jellyfish. And then it turns out the woman like follows her home, and she's like, you can't
That's not
come here
creepy.
because she's like these girls. It's like they call it the nunnery. It's like that's their house because they just don't.
'Cause they're just
don't
nerdy.
like, they don't like fashionable people, like the stylish people. They don't like men. They don't want any people there. Yeah. And so Kelly.
That's
and
a
so-
face, Callie.
Yeah, and so then when the jellyfish girl brings in, this stylish person, they're like,
Oh,
no.
Verboten. Get her
Yeah,
out.
and so then the stylish girl keeps coming and coming, and then it's revealed later that, like in the first chapter or something, it's second chapter, that, oh, that's a guy. And so then it's just kind of like their adventures and like him, hanging out with this nerdy group of girls, and then them trying to save their house because like they're being poached for land and all this kind of stuff. So it's just a really fantastic show about like accepting yourself and inner beauty and that kind of thing. So it's just
That makes me so
it's
happy.
so good. Like I think they have like 22 chapters up right now, and I just read those so fast.
Oh my gosh.
But there are more.
Check that out.
But then it ends, and you're like, when's the next stuff coming up? I need it. So, yeah.
That's cool. Oh, next week. I don't know if we have time this week, but I wanted to talk about Himoto Umaru-chan. It's starting to grow on me.
Yes!
I gave it a second chance, and it's starting to grow on me. She's still hot street trash, but now she's getting kind of foibled by other people, and there's a rhythm to it that I like. And she was eating potato chips and drinking soda, and she did it so much in this one episode. I went downstairs and opened up a bag of potato chips and had like potato chips and like beer while I was like watching it, because I was like, that made me really hungry for junk food.
Yeah, she makes you want to eat junk food. It's a
Yes, which is
dangerous
terrible.
show, but I really like it. And I was talking to my friend who really likes anime, and I was like, oh, I'm like watching Himoto Umaru-chan, and she made this face like, and I was like, what? I really like it. She's like, oh, then I won't talk about how much I hate it then. Like, she just hates it so much.
It's hard to
I
get
get
past
that,
the first
though.
10 minutes.
The first episode, I did not like it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, but I liked the theme song, so I was like, I'll go with this. And then it just keeps growing
I like
on
the
me.
inner otaku stuff too, like the PlayStation and the like the Nintendo stuff and then the anime stuff. And it's like I want to keep watching because it's should be up my alley, but she is hot garbage.
Oh god, I love the references though because I just relate to. I'm like,
it's just like, I know those feels.
I wasn't like hot street trash,
Right.
but I was like normal trash where I was just like, I'm gonna go home and play Animal Crossing for an hour.
Yeah, it's like stock up on all the junk food. Like
Yeah.
there's when I was in college, I know, Call of Duty was coming out. I was super big into Call of Duty for a long time, and they had the double XP on the Doritos and Mountain Dew. And I was like,
Oh, dude, been
sorry,
there.
body, but
I was-
fought so much. It was terrible.
I had my Call
I got
of
the
Duty
double
days.
XP. I got so many levels.
marketing
It's fine.
works.
Yeah, I had a lot of Call of Duty days, and I liked she's playing some sort of war game, and when you die, it just says you dead, and
I
I
know,
just,
that was so funny.
You did, and I was like, I wish every game said this when I died, because it would make me less frustrated. Like if Call of Duty was just like you dead, I'd be like, well, whatever. I'm like, oh well, I'm dead. So yeah, so I like that show.
There are parts of us we can relate to.
Yeah.
Umaru. She's
When you go home after
she's
school,
actually all of us.
there's a piece of Umaru. There's a part of Umaru in all of
I
us.
don't
for
think
the-
with my 4 siblings I could ever get away with talking to them like that. Like
Oh.
that would not happen.
So if you don't know what she acts like, she is like a 5-year-old screaming infant.
Yes.
Yeah, she's
like
a
at school,
brat.
she's like
Brat,
perfect
yeah.
and smart, and you'd never know this cute 16-year-old high school girl is just a reign of terror at home.
No, she's a capital B brat. Like she's a
She
terrible
throws
person.
so many crazy tantrums. And I mean, it's kind of funny, but at the same time, it's like, whoa,
Oh.
calm down.
I really related to her when she went to the mall, saw all the cute clothes, but then saw like Monster Hunter or whatever was on sale, and so she was like, "I'm gonna buy cheap clothes at Uniqlo and just get the video game."
There is nothing wrong with Uniqlo.
Oh no, Uniqlo's great.
But she was gonna go
But
for the.
she wanted to save money. Like her brother gave her, he was like, only buy clothes, and he sent her to the mall, and she like found a cute dress, and then she walked by the game store, and she was like, I have an idea. So she bought like a ton of clothes like for super cheap and all like basic tank tops, and he's like, these are really basic clothes, and she's like, solid colors are in this month or whatever. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's
She's
a funny
always
show.
scheming, though. I admire that. She's always scheming to get a new video game, and I respect that.
Yeah.
I gotta play. You gotta play the system. You gotta get your game somehow.
Yeah, gotta play. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah, you did.
You did.
You did.
Yay, anime.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good though.
Okay, yeah. With that, you guys want to jump into our topic of the week?
Yeah.
Sir.
Shoujo.
This is the jellyfish dance. I don't know.
Back to the-
Back to the shoujo. Yeah, we're talking about shoujo this week.
I'm
Yeah.
not doing the damn. Sorry.
No, I'm just gonna pretend like it's a dance. I don't know
I
what you
said
said.
dance. That's
Yeah.
what I said.
Shoujo.
Well,
Wall
anyway.
Warriors, guys.
Anyway, moving on to Happy Shoujo.
Happy shoujo. Happy shoujo.
So yeah, we've covered shonen before, like a little bit more in depth, and kind of saying that hey, this is not necessarily genre, because a lot of people say, oh, this is genre. It's like not really. It's more of a demographic.
Yes.
And so we're kind of covering the shoujo demographic and like the more targeted anime that's like, this is shoujo. And we want to kind of hit on some of the deeper points of it and like what's the trash parts and what are the best parts.
Trash seems to be an ongoing theme for this week.
Yeah, it's
I like
like
it.
it
It's
integrated
probably-
itself into my slang, and I just say it all the time now. So
Yeah,
I
I
know.
think it's something we say a lot with my Dota friends, and one of my Dota friends' usernames is Garbage Baby, and so
my
like
God.
referring to things as garbage and trash is just
yeah.
becoming part of my vernacular.
I was
so-
playing Splatoon with people, and they were just everything was garbage and trash. So.
Yeah.
I didn't used to use either term, but then I sat next to you and Eric, and you use it all the time. So now I go around saying, "Listen, trash."
Yeah. So anyway, on that note, let's talk about shoujo anime.
Should we start with the trash, or we should start with the good stuff?
we could start with some trash. I feel like we're on the trash
we
note.
can dig our way out of the trash pile eventually.
Yeah, out of the trash compactor. Oh my God.
So I'll start with something. I guess
Okay.
a trope that I'm not really a fan of, which is the always like the doshio. Like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Oh my goodness, girl! The amount of time you've taken to ask what should I do, you could have figured out a solution.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with women being in trouble or having problems, and especially
Yes.
since most shoujo feature like female protagonists, like they often have like troubles. They're troubled people.
Yeah. Which
have
is,
to have
I mean,
conflict.
like that's how real people are, and
Yeah,
women,
it's like,
women
oh,
are
guess
people.
what?
Newsflash. So,
Whoa!
I like seeing that.
But yeah, the biggest trope is like the clueless. I'm the protagonist, but I can't help myself.
That's anything.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so shy,
Those
but I
that
can't figure
you
it
know
out.
is like their favorite thing to do, where it's like things are happening and you're the only one who can solve it, and yet you're sitting there doing this. And like we all have moments where we panic, and we just got to calm down. But it just feels more like
Yeah,
Like you could be a little more.
ditzy.
You could be a little more competent about your life.
Yes.
Like just a little more.
yeah,
Yeah, everyone has moments where they could use some support or they freak out. That's
Yeah, and there's-
totally normal.
Yeah.
But the prolonged, constant. So I used to way back in the day. I was watching Marmalade Boy, and you could make. Well, how to put this? You could put yourself in the hospital if you created a drinking game based on how many times Mickey said "Doshio," and it was just a bad idea. So if you wanted to survive that, you actually had to make it something like you ate a salad every time she said that.
Yeah.
Become so healthy.
I know. But
That's our fitness strategy.
But every time I think of that kind of like, I guess, trope, that habit you see, in varying degrees, obviously, depending on the series.
Right.
I always think of that series in particular, and then I think I don't want to die. Because my friends are like, we should make a drinking game out of this. And I'm like, no,
No.
let's
do a
not.
juice cleanse every time.
Juice cleanse.
every time they do that.
Oh my
Doshio.
God.
Oh, all right,
Oh.
I gotta go get the blender, get my vegetables.
Yeah.
You be pausing that one episode so often. So often.
I think another big problem trope with shoujo is you have the two polar opposite love interests for the protagonist. There's always the bad boy and the guy who just wants to help you out. And it's
Yeah.
like, please stop. Get something different. Like that's kind of a big thing with like otome in general too.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you have
yeah.
very typical. There's the bad boy. There's the person you've known forever.
Your childhood friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the athletic guy. There's the jokester, and then like
You talking about
the
harem
popular
stuff?
guy. No,
No,
just
no,
like
no, like,
otome, like
just,
just
a dating
sim.
sim.
Or any,
Oh,
like
okay.
even with the anime, it does the same thing
Yeah.
because they're based off the shows and
Yeah.
stuff. And you're like, please move away from that. And it's kind of silly, but it's like one reason I like Had a Full Boyfriend.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up How to Full
it
Boyfriend.
does have some of those tropey characters. I mean, because some of those work. I mean, like the
Yeah.
person you've known forever. I mean, that's not a bad thing. But whenever they fall into that same cycle of who they are and what they do, it gets boring.
Yeah.
And you need something different.
I get really tired of the archetype characters, like the athletic one, and you can always predict what they're going to be like. And it's frustrating to me because people aren't like that. Like I know super athletic people who hate sports, who are just like physically fit and are normal
Right.
humans that aren't all about sports. Like it's just frustrating to me where it's like, oh, here's the sports guy. He's gonna say this. He's gonna do this.
Yeah,
like
their attitudes are so predictable, and that happens a lot in shoujo
Yeah.
too.
I feel like Makura no Danshi in that way subverts our expectations because what you think they're going to say, disappointingly, they don't.
Yeah, and they don't go with tropes either. They
No,
don't.
they
They don't
certainly
have
don't.
the
They
athlete
just
boy.
go straight to creepy.
And I just
Yeah,
go.
they just go straight.
I would like a happy medium.
Yeah.
To be quite honest.
I'm still waiting for Library Boy to save us all.
Library,
gotta be the good
library,
balance.
library boy.
But he's scared of spiders. I don't
He's
trust
just
him.
gonna-
No, that's
he's
the
just gonna
violin
say,
boy.
Oh, right.
"Shh."
Oh yeah.
Just the whole time. Shh.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. I really hope Library Boy's gonna save us all. Let's just hope that happens.
Yes.
But yeah, I get really tired of that because it is very frustrating. Like especially when I was a teenager, like a young teenager, like a middle schooler, getting into shoujo stuff. It gave me a lot of like false expectations for like dating and stuff. And not that that's shoujo's fault in particular. There were a lot of factors, but I did feel very much like, you know, I can't date this boy because I'm not this type of girl and we don't fit together. Like even if
Right.
like we were friends, like I had a lot of weird ideas about what worked because everything I watched, and not just anime, to be fair to anime, but a lot of the things that I was exposed to were very formulaic in that way. And so that's
Yeah.
one of the things I really don't like about shoujo. It just reminds me of that formula where I'm like, well, there's no place for me because I'm not any one of those types
Sort
of
of
girls.
like the romantic comedy syndrome, where it's
Or
like
romance novels.
yeah, just
Yeah.
romance novels where it's not a realistic expectation of how a relationship works. You have this
Ugh.
like, dream in your head, and
Ugh.
then it's like reality
If
doesn't reflect that.
Yeah, there's a lot of books that are very popular, and I don't want to name names, but I think we all know one in particular that's very popular, where the expectations for the relationship are unhealthy, like they are dangerous. It's a borderline kind of a manipulative, abusive kind of relationship, and you see that sometimes, not not to the extreme, but you do see things where, like the person is like too involved with your life or with the character's life, and you're like, okay, well, like a healthy mutual relationship shouldn't have that weird obsessiveness. There's weird
Right.
tropes with romance.
Not even just like with that particular book series that I know you're talking about, but like there are even like little moments that you'll see in shoujo series, right? So there was that one, and I really like the series, Karashi Tokanajo no Jijo, which is His and Her Circumstances. And for the most part, I like it, but there are a couple things in it that I found as an adult like really unsettling.
Yes.
Where like there's that scene, I think I've mentioned it before on the show, which is where like she's fast asleep. She's just so worn out from all the club activities that she does that she's fallen asleep at her desk after school. And she wakes up and he's just like standing by her, just watching her sleep. And like as a teenager, I was like, oh, that's kind of romantic. And as an adult, I was like, I don't know about
Yeah,
this.
that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is I would watch something as a kid or a young teenager and be like, "Oh, cute," and now I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, if you
No.
woke up and some guy was just standing over you, staring at you, you'd be like, "What? What?"
Yeah.
But as a teenager, I was like that too. I was like,
It's
"Oh,
just
that's
so creepy.
romantic."
It's
Yeah.
really creepy. Like, wake me
Senpai
up,
Notice me, you know?
like,
It was just
dude, wake me up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to talk to
You
me so
need
bad,
something? Yeah.
Can I help you?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
What are you looking at, buddy?
Yeah. So I don't like the archetypes. I don't like the weird expectations kind of stuff.
So far, we do not like the stereotypical shy lead who does not know what to do.
Yes.
The lady.
Shy's okay. The not
Like,
knowing
shy
what to
is
do
just-
constantly
But
is a
yeah, the
problem.
overly
Yeah,
shy,
it's the extreme.
timid to the extreme does not learn how to grow out of that.
Yeah.
We don't like the two guys that always the romance, like just
Like,
stereotypical.
It's like the best friend and the bad boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always those two.
Yep.
Yeah, and we dislike overly possessive relationships that are bad, which kind of happens. Like you see the girls like because they are the shy leads or something, that the guy's like more dominant, and he comes to be a little too pressing sometimes.
Yeah. It's like I'd rather see a protagonist figure out her own life and figure out how to be in a healthy relationship with someone that she likes, rather than him kind of coming in and being like, "You don't know what to do. I'm here to save you," kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's frustrating to me.
So are there any other tropes?
Well, I mean, those are like the big thematic
biggest
ones.
ones,
Like
the
there's
big
like the
three.
little things, right? We talked about, was it last week or the week before? Where it was like Kabajon.
Oh,
my
Kabajon.
gosh. The
That they said.
the
Thank you for
animal,
telling us that, by the
Yes,
way.
thank you.
the animal gifs that somebody sent, like with the one with like the two cats, where they're like almost like it looks like they're hugging, but they're really fighting. It is amazing.
Yeah.
That one made my day.
Those Kabedon memes were so good.
Yes, thank you everybody.
Yes.
That was amazing.
Thank you for figuring out the name for us, and
Yes,
sending all of
Kabedon.
those. The Kabedon.
wall slam.
the wall.
There are little things like that, but I think
Yeah.
for me those are like the bigger thematic sort of
So
things.
it's like in a way that shoujo just needs to figure out its romance.
Oh,
Yes.
also, Genki girls. Genki girls who are the main protagonists need to die.
I'm
sorry.
Whoa.
Okay, explain this.
Okay, wait.
I got
We gotta
two
take
words
this
for
apart.
you. Yuki Miyaka
Oh.
from Fushigi Yugi. That's the kind of protagonist I
Well,
hate.
I think maybe for the audience in general, we might need to explain the Genki
so
girl.
Genki
Yeah,
girl is
yeah.
the super, always cheerful no matter what, super dumb, super clumsy, always hungry, just gobbles everything like a hog. Like, it's so annoying that there's so many protagonists who do
I love the
that,
nods.
where they're
Okay,
just
so yeah, I get what you mean.
they're so dumb. They're the doshio types, but they're also so stupid and they get people in trouble. And so one of the reasons I had a love-hate relationship with Fushigi Yugi is it literally took Miyaka 30 episodes to figure out how to be a leader. Like, she was just so
That was what
dumb and like
Some
she's
people are just
super-
slow learners.
She's like,
Yeah.
she's like
It's
super
really slow.
brave, but like there's a point where
Yeah.
Nakago tells her, "You lack the ability to learn." It's like I want to admire your bravery, but you are just dumb. And like that is the thing that I really hate is every once in a while you come across an anime where there's just really ditzy main protagonist, and it's like just be smart. Okay, like
Yeah.
I used to not like
Sometimes-
Usagi from Sailor Moon, but she actually you see
She
her
grew.
story,
She has
she grows,
an
yeah.
arc. Like she develops into something greater, and
Yeah.
she still maintains that kind of ditzy cuteness. But it's just like part of her personality that works, and
Yeah.
it isn't overbearing.
Yeah, and the thing with Miyaka is she eventually gets there, but it takes 30 out of 56 episodes for her to finally
Yeah, that's-
grow up.
Yeah, that's more than
That's-
half the series.
Too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So-
just,
So those are our 4 most
Big ones.
annoyed tropes for shoujo. Almost said shonen. So clever. So for shoujo. So let us know what you guys think. What are the things that you guys cannot stand about shoujo? But with that, what are the things we like?
So it's funny how you were saying earlier that, the genre, not genre, but like the demographic that they're aiming for here with these series, needs to figure out the romance thing. But I don't think that's necessarily true because I do think there are some series that do it really well. Like, so one of my personal favorites is Hanayori Dango, Boys Over Flowers. And one of the reasons I love that series, even though I feel like I actually have grown out of it a little bit, it's not as, I guess, emotionally relevant as it used to be for me. But I love how plucky that character is. I mean, she takes a beating and she just keeps going and going and going. In fact, the only thing I don't like about that series is the fact that she ends up, there's like that whole like romance thing with the antagonist, that her main antagonist, right? Because I was like, you don't need him. Like, just live your life, girl.
But it wouldn't be more like thematic and cute if they actually end up together? No.
I know, but I mean,
it kind of is
it
end up being cute, though.
right?
But
So it's shoujo, right? Because of that. But I love her backbone. I
Yeah.
love that so much.
it's a good character.
And then another of my favorite shoujo series is Sand Chronicles. That's a series that I got to know when I was working at Viz, and I'm so glad I did because it is so much more nuanced than I was used to seeing from like that kind of demographic, where the basic premise is that this girl moves from like the big city, I think it's Tokyo, but like a big city, to basically the rural countryside of Japan with her mother. And after a really harsh winter, her mom's like has depression, her mom kills herself. And so the rest of the series is just kind of following the main character as she tries to come to terms with the fact that her mom committed suicide. So it's very nuanced and like it just permeates everything in her life, and it really affects like her first real romance, and it's a really kind of bittersweet sort of story in a way. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's one of my personal favorites. It's not animated. It's a manga series, but it's just so good.
yeah. I like Nana.
Yeah,
For a
Nana's-
lot of reasons, because I think that does deal with relationships in an interesting way. I mean, you do have Nana is kind of like a ditzy Genki girl, but her circumstances are kind of interesting. They're more adult. She deals with more adult things. Like the very opening chapter is her having an affair with a salary man who's married. And so it's an interesting start. And you're like, okay, she's the clumsy ditz, but there's more to her, and her circumstances are more grounded and realistic. And I thought that was super interesting. And her group of friends changes, and her life changes as the series goes on. So I sort of like those more adult things like that, and Hataraki-man and Rio Clothes, where you're dealing with more adult situations, even if the character is kind of loopy or ditzy. At least they're
Yeah.
forced to be grounded in reality some way. So
Yeah, it totally makes sense. So, do we want to talk about some of like the standout shoujo? Because I know there's a lot of things out there that guys are like, well, shoujo's for women, so we can't watch it, kind of thing, or don't maybe
that's
watch
not
it.
true.
I mean, like some guys are.
They
They're like,
might
oh,
think
it's
that, but
shoujo.
it's
Yeah,
not true.
right.
So
right.
going with themes, I would say one of the strengths of shoujo, which I love, right? So I love like shonen series because like it has a lot of action. Like there's that kind of really always strong message of like do your best, like always try to improve, like
Dream it.
dream, like believe big,
Yeah.
think big. Really treasure the friendships you make. Like I really like that about shonen. I would say for shoujo, what I really like is just the concept of being able to really dive into the characters' lives and their heads. Like you really get to see, in the good series, you get to see like the motivation, like how relationships form. Like, I mean, the reason why everyone loves My Love Story, I think, is because you have that kind of shoujo kind of style of approach to like how the characters end up relating.
Yeah, and I like that just on the topic of My Love Story, I like that because you see this kind of with shoujo stuff is like the whole thing is how they get together. You're waiting for them to get together.
Yep.
With My Love Story, they get together really soon, and you get to see their relationship grow and how they deal with different communication issues that they have. I like seeing that a lot, and that's probably my favorite thing about that show is you get to see them work through their relationship rather than just see all the little flirty things that are also cute, like the little like before they're together flirty things that you see in a lot of shoujo. And I also like we're getting to know the minor characters, the side characters in that show,
Yeah.
and delving into their lives. And I talked about this, I think, last week, but the Christmas episode with Afro-san, whose name I can't remember.
I love that you gave
Kurihara?
them that name.
Yeah.
I think that name
it's-
should just stick.
Yeah, I think it's Kurihara and Nanako. Their relationship is very different from Takeo and Yamato's relationship. Like, they're not lovey-dovey. She's kind of like, whatever, man, and he's just cute, and she's not whatever man about. Like, she likes
Right.
him, but she's not Yamato. And I like that that we get to see a different kind of relationship.
And it's also kind of interesting to see how Yamato's relationship affects her friends too, and how they see men, and how Takeo's also has the same thing. It's like, well, this is my different style of dating. Like I don't love the same way you love.
Yeah,
kind of
and
thing.
we see Nanako get really mad at Yamato at one point because she's like, not everyone can be like you. Like, she's very frustrated. And then we see Takeo kind of like give Afro-san that pep talk, like, be a man, like, stop like beating around the bush with this, and like tell her you like her, basically. And so you see how their relationship influences others, but nobody copies them exactly.
Yeah, like there's all different types, and it feels more real. It's like, this is what high school love feels like, and it's just cute, and it's just fun, and they have a really great balance of comedy and romance. It never feels too overwhelming with the cutesy feels. It also just has a great comedy.
Yeah, and I meant to bring this up, actually. Takeo kind of reminds me more of like he'd belong more in a shonen.
Yeah, that's what makes it so like fun to watch.
Yeah, because he's not the typical shoujo love interest.
Or
or
lead.
lead.
Is the
He's the
lead.
lead.
Yeah, he's the lead.
You don't,
Yeah.
you don't really see
He's-
guys lead shoujo.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's another thing I like about the show is he is the main one. We see things from his perspective, and they play on that all the time. Like, all the girls are like, oh, I like him as a person, like, because he's not the typical, like, what you would think a shoujo anime those girls would find attractive.
Right.
And so I like that because, like, there's some episodes where we do get action out of the show. Like, it's not just it's not flat. We have the whole thing
It's
with
got those shonen elements in it, where it's like he'll rescue her by like picking
beam.
something really heavy
Yeah.
up, or like just running into action and like saving a
Yeah.
character.
Or
there's
the marathon.
Shonen, there's
Like-
shonen elements woven in. So it's like, if you're a big shonen lover and you're scared of shoujo, it's like, no, this is for everyone. You really like this show.
It feels really balanced in that way. It doesn't feel overly like, it's not sickeningly sweet to me.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is I'm kind of a romantic, but I also I'm kind of like, okay, like
There has to be a point where it stops and gives you a
realism
break.
to it, right?
it can't be like a cavity causing thing for me. Yeah, I like that show a lot.
Another show I think that kind of pushes past just shoujo stereotypes. Gekkan Shoujo, Nozaki-kun. So it's also
I knew that was gonna come up.
Yeah,
I knew it. Yeah.
Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun just says, hey, here are all these stereotypes for genders and love and high school, and just says,
Nope.
goodbye. And It's so good and refreshing to see something that also has like really good romance too. That's not. I think a big problem with anime and fans with romance is that unless they like kiss or do something intimate, they don't feel like it's satisfying enough.
Yes.
And this says, hey, we're not going to make that happen always, but they can still have like a cute romance going on, and it's believable.
Yeah, and I like Nozaki-kun because, again, they are in high school, and it feels more like what high schoolers would be doing.
Right.
They're not, you know...
Kind of. I mean, to
an extent. I mean, because he's a mangaka,
Yeah,
so that's not accurate.
If you don't
really.
remember, I think we described it like last episode or previous one.
Yeah.
But Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun focuses around a mangaka. He's in high school. He's making manga, and this one girl goes, very first episode, to confess her love for him. She's like, I got to tell him, you know?
Yeah.
And
he
can't do
she
it.
messes up. It comes off as a fan.
Yeah,
She
and
keeps saying, I'm a big fan. Like, I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of you personally. It's like,
Yeah.
here's an autograph.
Yeah, he gives her an autograph, and I'm like, that would probably happen to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can
so-
totally relate to that awkwardness at
Yeah,
that age.
I got Chio right here. I got her in Japantown this week
So
because
cute.
I relate to her so much. Yeah, and so it's cute because like that exact thing, not that exact thing. Obviously, I've never met a mangaka who was in high school, but that's kind of stuff happens where you're like, I like you, and they're like, thanks, and you're like, oh no,
okay.
that's not what I meant.
Yeah,
Like-
and so it kind of just goes with her dealing with her feelings, and eventually she starts helping him out with his manga, and like there are other friends that kind of get drawn into this thing as well, and just high school life in like a super funny way.
Yeah. So it's not accurate to like actual high school because of
but-
the manga. But I like the relationships themselves are more. They're not adult relationships. They are like teenager relationships where they're kind of.
But they don't come off as
They don't
dumb
come off.
or immature.
Yeah. It's not like a. I'm not. Yeah. I'm
Right.
not trying to diminish like the value of the relationships. I just don't think that they get too serious about each
Right.
other. It's fun. It's light. But you get into the characters. Like you really get.
It's relatable.
Yeah.
Is the word I would use. It's
That's-
relatable.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would suggest that more than My Love Story, but pretty on par. Like
Yeah.
it is a fantastic show, and I highly suggest people.
Oh yeah,
Watch
that's
it.
I would 100% recommend
Yeah.
that if you haven't seen it. It's really unique to me. I really like it.
Yeah, the characters definitely stand out. I mean, that's, the focal point of the show.
Yeah, and I like the different kinds of characters you get. I'm blanking on everybody's names right
I know
now.
it's been a very long time since I've watched it.
Yeah, I want to rewatch
Like,
it
there's-
actually. Like that's how much I like this. I want to rewatch it.
Yeah, me too. It'd be good to
but
watch.
but the Lorelai of the Glee Club, I forget her name right now, and I know this. I'm so mad. But like she's totally kind of like she's oblivious about a lot of things. But seeing her develop feelings for someone, and then him like he has the whole thing where he likes her singing, but he doesn't know it's her. Like it's just
Yeah, and then one of the
adorable.
most handsome men in school is a woman, and just like that kind of thing.
yeah.
It's just
The
done
Prince
so
character is a girl. And
Yeah.
she plays that off so. I love that scene where she's like, "Say my name," and the Prince character is like, "Princess." Like she like totally plays it off because she does not remember her name.
Yeah.
It's cute. It's just I'm like,
well. Yeah, it's so all put together, and one of the shows
it's short.
Yeah, and it's short. It's like
I think it's 12 or 13 episodes.
12, 13? Yeah, something like that. But yeah, it's just definitely one of those shoujo that I would elevate and say, hey, check this out. But are there any other ones you guys want to...
I
Bring up.
did want to add one thing to just the whole relationship thing, because I also wanted to point out that we talk about the romantic relationships, because shoujo does have a lot of that. Shoujo series do. But I also really like how you get kind of an alternate look at friendship, right? So shonen does this, right? But a lot of times the friendships there are very much about like one-on-one, like your best friend, right?
Yeah.
What I like about shoujo, it's like a different angle on friendship where you see like group oriented, like very large groups, like how each person can play, like contribute to a group, and how they can be really valued among their friends for that. And honestly, for me, Sailor Moon I was such a fan of Sailor Moon for that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't personally like Usagi very much. She grows a lot, and that grew on me.
Yeah.
But what I liked most was seeing how much she cared about her friends, like the lengths she was willing to go for them, and like vice versa, and how each person really had something to contribute, even though they had such different personalities. And I feel like in really good shoujo series, you get that kind of celebration of like different personality types.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you see that a little bit more. Also, like in Naruto and some other shows as well, like the very big core, long length, Gintama and stuff. They do have like the featured episodes, but I think it's a little different in that how Sailor Moon works is like it's like power based. Like you get your power from your friends, and your friends are just like so centrally important. And like they really nail that down. It's like friendship. I'm like,
I mean, it's not a shoujo per se,
Yeah.
but one of the things I love about School Live is the relationship everyone has with each other and how they have to band together in these situations to protect one another. And I think that's super powerful when it's all about that kind of camaraderie.
Yeah. If I can get kind of serious, I one of the reasons that anime became so important to me is because it was very uncool when I was younger to like anime, but there was always that element of friendship that I didn't always have in real life. And not that I didn't have friends, but like it was so cool to see a model for what, true like caring about your friends, platonic relationships and romantic relationships, and having that was so important to me. And that's one of the reasons, like, I started reading Fruits Basket in middle school, for example, which is why I have Kyo here. I kind of went to anime and manga like for that for a while, and then everything got better. Yay! But I think it's really important, the emphasis on friendship. It means a lot to me.
With that too is like Ouran High School Host Club.
Ugh.
So that's another show that I would totally recommend. Like you maybe aren't in shoujo and don't know where to start.
Yes.
Ouran High School Host Club.
100% watch that. Tamaki-senpai. Okay, real talk. There is a strings cover of the theme song, which is called Sakura Kiss, and I am 100% playing that at my wedding. I don't care. I don't have. We joked about me getting engaged. I'm not engaged, but I know for certain I'm playing that song at my wedding in some capacity because it's just beautiful in the strings version.
I'm going to play the theme to Final Fantasy because that is my favorite thing ever. So it's like da na 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 na, and I am walking down the aisle to that. So heads up, future husband, because I am a Final Fantasy fanatic. Yeah. Especially the classic ones. The newer ones, we'll see. Final Fantasy 15 will turn it around, but Final Fantasy 4, favorite game ever. And that whole soundtrack, one of my favorite ever.
So, on the topic of shoujo romance, we have part of our weddings planned.
Yes, we have weddings planned. This is all about commitment. So here's the question: what anime theme or game theme do you want to walk down the aisle to, Miranda?
I don't know.
You're on the spot.
I haven't
Dota
thought of this.
Dota.
Dead Mouse's Dota music.
Dead Mouse Dota pack. So it's called Dieback. I saw Dead Mouse at TI5. I was happy.
Yeah.
He was right in front of me. I'm like, hey, I gotta leave. Gotta go to the airport, but I'm sad. I'm leaving you. But all right, bye.
Yeah, I confess,
Anyway.
I'm a Dead Mouse fan. I have been for years, but
It's cool.
yeah, there you go. You have
Ghosts
Dead
and
Mouse.
stuff.
Yeah, Ghosts and stuff.
Song. It's a Dead Mouse song. Yeah, no, for me it'd be the strings version of Sakura Kiss. Yeah.
I have to turn in my, shoujo card because I have not really done any wedding planning in advance.
Also, I'm just like,
I feel like it's a jinx, right? Like, let's not jinx this. I will wait until it's appropriate to do this.
That's shoujo, but I thought you were gonna say Escaflowne, like the opening theme for that.
I don't know.
Pretty.
It is really pretty, but I feel like so now that I'm thinking about it, if I was gonna plan a wedding, I don't know who I'm gonna marry. I don't know what their tastes are, so I feel like it's one of those things you have to discuss.
The groom doesn't count at this point. If he says, "Honey, it's up to you,"
Doesn't
I don't
matter.
care. I'm happy with whatever.
This is if he said that, I'm like, get out. I'm not marrying you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should care.
This is a team.
No, that's the only thing that is for certain. Like, I have to have that somewhere. So the person I'm marrying, like, if we're good enough as a group, wow.
If you have multiple personalities, that could be a thing.
No, as a partnership, then they'd want to experience that. With
But
you.
I'm saying, in theory, if your groom was like, "It doesn't matter to me," you pick the playlist, which has happened. Like I've heard people
For sure.
Some things
for
are just
sure.
like, "I care about this, but I trust you to do this."
Like, if I had to choose an anime thing, I have no idea. It's so hard. There's so
idea.
many.
Yeah. Well-
Probably something from Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
They do
entirely
have a
honest.
lot of really, especially when you get the instrumental versions.
Yeah.
They're actually really good.
I have
Yeah.
one of those CDs where it's like the instrumental version of a lot of their songs, and it's like, oh, it's so pretty.
Yes.
So good.
All
Especially
right.
for the movies. The movies had really pretty instrumentals.
This was such a shoujo conversation. I love it so much.
This is totally a show conversation.
Watch Ouran High School Host Club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
In conclusion.
It's about a girl.
In conclusion.
She breaks an expensive vase and has to work at a host club. with a
Yeah, and
bunch
they
of
all
dudes.
think she's a boy.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, it's good.
It's
Anyway.
good.
And
It's
the
so
voice
good.
of Tamaki was here.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
episode 15.
2 episodes ago.
Yes, that was. That was Vic Vignana.
Thanks
The-
again for coming.
Yeah, thank you,
again
Vic.
for coming.
Oh, and thanks to the person who did that
Yes.
amazing art based on it.
It was amazing.
Oh my god.
It was so
That
good.
made my entire life. I was so happy.
It's now my
We
Twitter cover image.
Yeah, we get so much amazing fan art from people, and it's like blows my mind. The people tell us like, "Hey, we love the show." I'm like, "Thank you."
Yes,
and
you
then,
guys are the best.
And then we get
Seriously.
fan art. I almost start crying because I'm just like,
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
The support means so much.
I want to
Yeah.
do something special for you.
I
How
have
can
no
I?
art talent,
want-
or I would do something, but I
Yeah,
guess I
it's-
rely on you guys to
we'll just
do
keep
the
trying to
art.
make this show better.
But I love
and
how
talk
it was
about
like,
our
it was
weddings.
Vic,
so.
so he was like
And talk about weddings.
Edward Elric, and then you were wearing a Pokemon cap, which I thought
Yeah.
was
Oh,
so cute.
That was perfect. If you're watching this, friend, because I love Pokemon so much,
friend.
and I was like, he knows. He knows my true heart.
It was super accurate, like what we were all wearing, and
It was like that's exactly how I'd want to look if I was in an anime. Like it was so perfect.
Yeah.
Made it like when I saw that,
Yeah.
I showed it to everyone. My mom showed it to my family. Like it was the best. It's the best.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
so-
you.
Yeah, thank you guys seriously for everybody. Like fan art or not, fan art, yes,
Yeah,
fan
it's
art,
just
whatever.
Amazing
on Facebook.
comments
Just-
on
yeah,
Facebook.
Yeah, if you,
Thank you.
if you don't
Also-
like art or if you can't
Yeah.
do art, like the discussions mean a lot as well.
No, yeah, just support and you guys caring is everything to us.
so
and the
positive.
few people who comment nice things on YouTube.
yes, thank you. You don't know what that means.
Yeah,
You're
some people
you're
ask like
so
the
brave.
best.
some people ask if we don't check. I've stopped checking some of them because they're just too toxic. Like it's
It's really bad.
Actually, I checked our most recent couple, and it's mostly
some
positive.
are good. Some are good.
So I think,
it
I think
depends.
on YouTube,
It
I
depends.
think a lot of them
The full
have blown
episode.
up.
Full episode. Those people are awesome.
Yeah,
We'll
those
watch on
people are
YouTube.
awesome.
Yeah.
So
But-
they're out there. Good people
Yes.
are out there. They're super supportive. You can continue to support on our Facebook page. Miranda, what's our Facebook page?
Facebook.com/group/IGN Anime Club. It's the official IGN Anime Club.
And you can also get, so somebody actually tweeted at me that because I was wearing the Anime Club t-shirt, they wanted that t-shirt. So we have to be better about wearing our anime t-shirts because it does make a
Yeah.
difference. They were like, I liked that teal and I liked that shirt, and so I got
Oh,
one.
I don't have one. But I will get one on the store, which is go.ign.com/store.
Yeah.
This woman is all pro.
And if you want to talk to us even more about maybe anime watch party, you can email us at
How did we all
IGN_anime club at IGN.com. And you can also tweet or Facebook hashtag IGNanime. That's IGNIME.
Yes.
Get
Um,
it?
Yeah, so
Watch
Steins
party.
Gate.
Steins
Watch
Gate.
party.
Oh no!
Sorry. I feel kind of the same
If
way,
all
to be
y'all
honest.
aren't watching it in dub, you're doing it
No,
wrong.
I love
Yes,
it.
I'm fist bumping.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no.
It's just okay. So if this was, I don't want to. I always preempt you. I'm so sorry. But it's just that if this was like a 12 episode series, like maybe I could stomach it more. But when I think about like the fact that it's like what 24, 26
So-
episodes,
This show evolves a lot.
I just
It evolves
Oh man.
so
Yeah.
much. So
Yeah.
don't, like, if you're a little, like, a lot of people are saying, hang on. Like, people, I know someone said that, actually, I have a comment.
there are a
Split
lot of good
Screen.
comments.
Yeah, Split Screen, at Split Screen Life on Twitter, said, Steins Gate broke the 3-episode rule for me. It took me 6 to 7 episodes to actually get hooked. So whoever's on the fence, keep up with it. And yes, like, there is a reason this was chosen for Watch Party. Like, we
Right.
did not pick this. This was everybody choosing it together. And, like, there is a very, very good reason for that.
Right.
And, like, it's one of my favorite shows, not just because, you know, I mean, yes, it has a slow start. Like, it does. Like, some shows just have that. And, guys, it's so good.
Crucial question, and I'm dead serious about this. Are you watching the sub or the dub?
Sub.
I've been watching the sub.
Dub.
Still
Dub.
on
It
dub,
makes
but
a
I'm going back to sub.
Huge difference to me. It makes all the difference in how much I enjoy it. And
Really?
That's usually the opposite for me. Like, I prefer the sub hands down in Cowboy Bebop, and that's some of people's favorite dub. But the dub makes such a difference because it doesn't take itself as seriously. It plays up a lot of the parts for laughs. And so, like, the main character is actually voiced by the guy who does Sir Hammerlock in Borderlands 2, which explains why I like him so much. I'm looking up his name now. But it's really, really good. So it is, give me a second, I see his picture. I'm on behindthevoiceactors.com, by the way. If you ever want to know who is voicing your favorite characters for your favorite anime, this is a good thing to do. So this is J. Michael Tatum, and he does the voice of the main character in Steins Gate, and he also does Sir Hammerlock in Borderlands 2. So he and a couple other characters, they do, like, the guy who does Daru, the hack.
Yeah.
He is hysterical. So for me personally, you may not be enjoying it because the sub seems to take itself kind of seriously, whereas the dub plays it up for more laughs. Like I was laughing out loud at my computer the other day watching it. So
Well, I will give the dub a shot for the next watch party. I think because so I'm kind of in the same boat as Elena, I think, on this show right now.
Not alone.
Yeah, no, I think someone in the Facebook group like last week said like I'm the one who says what you want to hear. I don't want to be that person. I don't want you to not like me if I say something you don't want to hear. Like I want to just be honest, you know. But no, I mean like I'm glad that you like what I say. So don't get me wrong. But yeah, no, I'm in the same boat. I have heard great things about the show, so I know that it's going to grow on me. And I can already feel it growing on me.
It won't grow on you. It'll punch you in the face.
Oh,
That's what happens. So,
well.
Am I supposed to like that?
yeah.
Because that's
abusive.
abusive.
It's a good punch.
That sounds
it's like
bad.
it's good.
it's
kind
like
of
it'll
pain.
knock you into realization that this is an amazing show and that everything you just saw was like, what?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I can sense it coming.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of cool science stuff. Like I used to be really involved in STEM. I was a chemistry major for a while, and I did a lot of science stuff. And
So smart.
well, I'm not doing chemistry, so that's all you need to know about that. But so there's a lot of like I was super into like CERN and stuff like that. I almost swore there because it's a time in my life that I was a different person. But anyway, I see a lot of the cool science stuff, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like I like how they're kind of playing up stuff that I had learned about before, and so I can feel it getting there. But I just really hate the cast a lot. Like I really don't like them.
So-
I like Kurisu, and that's it.
Yeah, which is why I'm saying dub.
Yeah.
This is why I'm
So Mayuri, you're saying that she acts like way young and stuff. She is younger than everybody else. She's
Okay.
16. So she's in high
That's
school.
not why I don't like her though.
That's still.
still love her.
She's
me.
She eased
You
up.
collect all the things. You gotta collect all the Oopas. They're actually Pikachus.
Like,
But no.
I don't know if it was just because we saw less of her in these last 2 episodes, or just because they toned her down. But she was much more tolerable.
She's the
this time.
Genki girl,
Yeah.
shoujo girl. I don't like. She's the one.
But she's much like she's chilled out, and I can respect some of the stuff she does with like the bringing them like food and like just being really considerate.
Yeah.
Although I still don't understand. Is she just really dumb? Because why
Just
does
like
she
one of their
not?
friends.
Why does she not know not to open the microwave while it was going?
You can
Like,
open
yeah.
microwaves when they're going.
Right,
I
but
do it
but
all
like,
the
how
time.
does
Like,
she?
but if
how
they're
does she
doing
not,
an experiment,
like how does
like-
she not understand that this is not a normal microwave? Like that's the part where I didn't.
She's Dixie
that-
Genki girl. That's her archetype.
I just
Yeah.
and
she
but
sucks.
why didn't other characters know that she was going to do something like that?
Yeah, there's a
It was
lot
just
of
weird.
I-
That was like a tiny little like plot thing for me.
I'm looking forward because I know they're laying down the foundation for a lot of stuff to come. Like I'm looking forward to all of that, but I'm waiting for it to capture me. Basically, I'm waiting for the show to get me invested. And I like Kurisu. Like I'm like I love you. You're perfect.
Yeah.
Flawless human being. So she's got me
See,
watching.
I've been paying attention and taking notes because
Well.
I know there's going to be a reveal because I am so smart.
am I the only one who's seen this all the way through?
Yes, you were the
Okay,
only one who's seen
yeah.
it, so you can't give anything
Okay.
away. But I noticed that they talk about a timeline. So 2015, World War III erupts. 2036, nuclear war contaminates Earth. 1975, year John Titor went to obtain the IBN 5100,
I love that.
which has a
I love
hidden
it.
functionality. And I like that because I'm like, it's all leading somewhere. And they keep mentioning, or Rintaro keeps mentioning that John Titor went back to the year 2000, and John's like, no, I didn't.
never
and he
been
keeps
there,
bringing
yeah.
that up. I've never been there. And so I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Like, none of this stuff is by accident. I am convinced that they're not wasting our time and trying to make this as boring as
Oh,
possible.
definitely. I know they're not wasting our time. Like
Yeah.
I'm invested in the show. Obviously, I'm going to keep watching. I would keep watching it even if it wasn't for the watch party. I'm still waiting. You know.
So Lauren Price emailed us and actually gave us a big explanation about John Titor. Like I would read the whole thing, but we're actually getting close on time. And basically said that, hey, John Titor was a real dude. Kind of, yes,
Huh.
in history. Like he posted on message forums in around 2000, 2001, and he said that he was from the year 2032, just like he did, like it is in the show, and that he spoke about and predicted CERN and a large hadron collider, the LHC, was a time machine, and how they used the LHC to be a time machine, and like physics and all these like crazy things, and people will really talk to him. And if you like kind of look up John Teeter on, like, a lot of people have posted some links in the Facebook group about John Teeter. Like there's like these entire websites dedicated to him and like dissecting his theories, and you can actually still find his original message board posts too.
Okay, that's wild. That's
And it's
so
just,
cool.
Yeah, it's just like a
Internet.
weird thing. Yeah, and so it's just kind of another like face like Steins Gate that it just relates to reality, which is really cool because you don't see that pulled in very often.
Yeah,
like
that is
something
really
like
cool.
this weird web phenomenon that is now the central point for your show.
Yeah. And we've had a couple of
like
people
the
write
visual
in
novel.
who are talking about like the accuracy of the show, and like people who have really studied CERN and like super tiny particles and all these crazy machines that they're building underground
Yeah.
in like Switzerland and stuff. Like people know this stuff, and they like are super excited to share details of what's accurate and what's not
Yeah.
in future episodes.
That's
And
that's
very
super
interested
cool.
in that.
That's I did not know that. That's so cool because I knew the Large Hadron Collider had been trying to find the God particle, which is like this whole
Right.
thing, and so they were doing like weird experiments and stuff. So that all tied it together. That's really cool.
yeah.
Thank you, Lauren Price.
Yeah,
Thank you for
so
that.
like, there's like a lot of awesome kind of emails that we get like that are like really long, and I would like to read them all, but they get kind of lengthy, so we can't read the entire thing.
I know, like Daniel said,
yeah.
slight shift, but
Yeah.
he's like, watching Kurisu and Ritaro go back and forth, talking, arguing is enough reason to watch and love Steins Gate. Honestly, I was again, Dub. I was laughing so hard.
So sometimes like arguments like that between protagonists and like whoever else can get annoying, but theirs are just so good.
Yeah, those are.
Like, she's
those
just
are,
like,
'cause
"You're
he
dumb."
is such a pedantic jerk. Like
Yeah.
he is just so arrogant, and he's just like, silence, woman. Like avert your eyes and all. Like he talks in this weird, annoying way, but her reactions to it are like,
She's like,
"You're-
stop, you're dumb.
Yeah, you're an idiot. Please stop." And like, it's just hilarious.
I also kind of liked Mayuri's reaction to whenever Okarin made Kurisu a club member. She's like, a girl? I'm not the only one.
I was
like,
cute.
yes.
I was gonna bring that up
That
because
was super cute.
that was really cute, and also I related to that so much.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Just
I think we
having,
can all
I think we all know that
those
feel.
feels.
We know that feel. I liked that a lot. That was probably like the highlight of that episode for me. It's
It
like,
kind
yes.
of, it's like just another layer of like that realism.
Yeah.
Like, that they have like good reactions, not like, oh, there's just another person here. And also
Yeah,
like
it was a realistic reaction.
Yeah.
Like, is what I would expect her to say.
also I love that they go visit Ferris at the meat cafe. I think that's in
Oh my god,
episode
I like
4.
Ferris a lot.
Ferris
Actually,
meow meow.
Funny.
I love them chanting like in the background. They're chanting like Ferris meow meow. All the guys in the cafe.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, this is so good.
That was weird but amusing.
It was wonderful.
I
I'd
like
go.
her for some reason. I just like her.
Yeah, she's good.
I think
She
Daro's
doesn't-
my favorite though. Like he's like
He's my favorite.
he
Honestly,
is hilarious.
I don't like most of the characters. I pretty much hate all the characters, but I hate him the least.
I like the part-time girl. I forget her name, but the girl who's working part-time.
The
at
bicycle?
The pigtails.
The bicycle girl.
I forget her name
Like
right now.
she's intriguing because she like knew about the computer. Like
Well, she was listening to them.
she was listening to them, but like I don't know. She
Same
intrigued
here.
me. She was like, "I'm a warrior," and he was like, "All the weirdos come here." She's like, "No, seriously, I'm a warrior." And I was like, "Okay, I want to know more about you."
Yeah. Or the
So-
the mysterious girl who he calls like hyper fingers or
No,
spark fingers.
Shining Finger.
Shining Finger.
Yeah, that girl. Yeah, there's a lot of people where I'm like, well,
That's the one I
Oh,
hate.
for me,
hate
I was
her.
like, oh, you're probably
Small.
actually John Teeter.
well, I
prediction
guess
now.
we'll find out. And of course, remember to email us and tweet us your thoughts on Anime Club. Anime Club. That too, but Steins Gate for the watch party, and we'll try to read more. We kind of ran a little long on this one, so we didn't get to read again as much, but yay anime.
Yay, anime.
So
Yeah.
next week's episodes are 5 and 6.
Yeah, so we'll be watching episodes 5 and 6, so be sure to catch that. You can watch Steins Gate on Netflix in the UK and other regions, but not in the US. We can also watch it on Funimation's YouTube, Funimation, Hulu, Viewster, and I think that's it. And you can also buy the Blu-ray. So if you guys were wondering where to watch that, I know a few people were asking. So yeah. So thank you guys for joining us so much today. That was episode 17. I'm Maria Sanchez. You can follow me at Havoc Rose on Twitter.
I'm Callie Plaguey. You can follow me at Inky Dojiko, INKYDOJIKKO.
Go team. Sounded like a cheer.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
awesome.
Go, Dojiko. Anyway, so
You can follow me at Megan, MEGHAN_IGN.
And I am at Morphing Ball.
yours is the easy one. I like yours.
Yeah. And that's it for today. So thank you guys so much for joining us this week, and we'll see you next time.
Yay!
Anime! Bye.